the desire to grow. Welcome to the show. Podcast link in the description or the bio above. Right now, especially why I wanted to start season 1 of talking to different industries, especially networking opportunities are limited. Yeah. And it's very hard for students to get into the industry. But for those who are looking at entry-level roles, what are some of the skills you would look for an associate or a co-op when it comes to the CPG?
I think to be a brand manager, I think what really helps and what's helped me in my past experiences and also some of my friends at work is one skill that I look at is more so actually rather getting into skills, it's more so softer traits versus technical. So it's something more that the technical skills I'm not that worried about because something like learning how to do like a VLOOKUP or index match, something like that on Excel is easy in theory. But something where problem solving or resilience and like written and presentation, these kinds of things are more so developed, like something that you would have, but then are also developed over time and they can continue to develop over time. So for example, the first thing that I really look at, if I were to kind of do like 2-3 different traits, the first one would be problem solving skills and analytics. So in analytical abilities, really going into this point is that I like to see how future candidates and something that my supervisors and really the high level like directors and VPs as well is how can you dissect a problem and how can you be solution oriented once you face a problem instead of looking at the problem and being a bit scared. So this can be very simple. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be the best brand manager. You don't have to really think of it at a super high level, but even like basic problems, how well can you look at a scenario and face it as a problem, but then create a solution for it. So that's really the problem solving piece. But then the analytical ability is like you look at a set of numbers or look at a set of figures and what is it something that you can take away from it? Is it a certain pattern that you notice or is it something that you're really able to take out and create an insight out of it? So really how are you able to like look at those numbers and digest it? But it's not even only numbers. I think analytical skills comes down to even just looking at, for example, if someone were to show you a picture and they're like, what are some of the like kind of like the best things of the picture, or like what are some of the findings of the picture, I guess, like the main things, like, you know, when you're reading a case and they ask you like what are some of the key findings and you're able to pull it out, that's something that's super important, like pulling the insights. So I think that's one. Another one that I look at is that this is something that comes really in one shot is like the resilience and grit. So how much are you trying to put up with really in terms of like chasing your goals? Because it's like I mentioned earlier, it's not going to be easy where after one day you're like, okay, this is awesome. This is going to be a brand manager job. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Just like any other job, some days there's going to be difficult days, but how do you develop that resilience for like keeping up with a lot of things and facing a lot of issues, and how do you continue moving through these issues? It's like, you know, like a swimmer, when there's a lot of waves, they keep swimming through. It's not like you're going to stop after each single wave and be like, okay, I give up now. It's moving through that. And how do you continue to navigate through that? That's so problem solving, analyticals, resilience and grit, some of the big ones. And then I think prioritization as well is a big one from my side. The only reason I say that is like, that may seem like a pretty, you know, basic and umbrella trait that sorts a lot of jobs, but prioritization is really key because as a brand manager, like I mentioned earlier, you're going to be focused on the strategy, on the executional level of the work. And maybe there's some days where you have to look at the packaging of a product, like what claims am I going to put on? What colors do I use on it? How do I make sure that this is really tackling that white space with the consumers that I mentioned, and how are the consumers going to understand? Some days you might be working on the media channel strategy. Like I need to invest this much in TikTok, this much in Snapchat. So that's already like 4 or 5 things that I mentioned. And your day is going to be split up into a lot of different tasks. So you need to be able to prioritize and manage what are the things that you really need to get done, and then what are some things that can wait until tomorrow. So that's one important thing. And really a lot of the co-ops that we've had quite a bit of meetings with them to adjust their schedules to see like how can you best prioritize the work that you need to do, and how can you put some things on the back burner, the things that don't need to be done. So those are really important things. And then finally, like the one that I would add is storytelling. That's like, as like a marketer, you need to be able to, again, find that find what the consumers want to hear, and why does your product really tackle that barrier that the consumers are facing, and be able to tell a story with it. It sounds like very cliche, like marketing theory, but like you need to be able to like create that story, and also storytell in presentation. So whether that's internal or external, when, for example, we have presentations twice a year, and we meet with the biggest retailers in Canada, like Walmart, Shoppers Drug Mart, Jean Coutu in Quebec, and then London Drugs as well, like all the biggest retailers. And what we do is we essentially go with them with our performance updates of like how well have we been performing as a company, and then what is our new products for the next year. And we got to tell the story to them about why would consumers want to purchase it. So as a senior level like marketing person, then you need to be able to tell those stories to them, but also to the consumers. So it's really interesting, to be honest, but as a co-op, it's like all of the skills that I mentioned can be like scaled down, but just as long as you show traits of it, I think that's super important.
No, I love that, Maninder. And for all those listening, I think you should really keep track that a lot of people what they're looking for nowadays is soft skills, and you really touched on these are all pretty much soft skills that you're looking for. Like Maninder said, the technical skills you can learn on the job. If we wanted someone who's a master at Excel, we'll just we'll hire someone who has 20 years of Excel experience. But no, we need fresh perspective. And how are we going to get fresh perspective is from those things that Maninder talked about: problem solving, being analytical, being open-minded, having that resilience. So I love that, and I think it's very true. And it goes across all industries, even the IT industry. I feel like the soft skills is really what people are looking for, especially in co-ops and interns, because you guys have no experience. So how are you going to get that experience? You'll get the technical, of course, once you get in there. But in order to get those skills, you have to have the soft skills, because the soft skills will allow you to excel in those technical skills too later on. So I love that. I love how you use that analogy, and I like the resilience analogy used with the swimmer, because that's very true. A swimmer won't stop halfway. You have to keep going. So if you're given a task, are you going to stop halfway? No, you're going to keep going. You're going to keep asking questions. I think that's a big thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Asking questions is how you get to the root of the problem.
Curious.
Being curious is huge.
Yeah.
So I love that, and I think it's very true across all industries, having the soft skills.
Thank you for listening. I'm going to be posting short clips just like this one leading up to the podcast release date on December 1st, and also after the podcast has been released. If you like videos like this, please subscribe and also comment with your suggestions on how we can improve. Liking the video will also help a lot.